Why are you two even here? Grandma barely mentioned you in her last years. My Aunt Patricia said that at my grandmother's funeral reception, loud enough for everyone to hear. My name's Hannah Lewis, and I'm 23 years old. That moment, standing near the dessert table with my younger sister Mia, I felt about 2 inches tall. My cousins Bryce and Sienna snickered from across the room, already talking about the inheritance, like Grandma's body wasn't even cold yet. I work as a veterinary assistant. Nothing fancy. I live modestly with Mia, who's 20 and in college. Our mom raised us alone after our dad left when we were little. Money was always tight. Grandma lived a few states away, so we only saw her during holidays. But Aunt Patricia? She lived 15 minutes from Grandma. Visited all the time. Never let anyone forget she was the devoted daughter. Her kids, Bryce and Sienna, were treated like royalty. Designer clothes, new cars, expensive vacations. Mia and I were the poor relations. Pitied, overlooked, invisible at family gatherings. But here's the thing. When Grandma hugged us, she held on tighter. She asked real questions. She saw us. Not our bank accounts or our Instagram feeds. Us. I didn't expect anything from her will. I just wanted to honor her memory. I wasn't wealthy or connected or impressive by their standards. But Grandma saw something in us they never did. If you've ever been the underestimated one in your family, hit subscribe right now and drop where you're watching from below. Because what happened next changed everything. The funeral was brutal. Mia and I showed up in simple black dresses we'd owned for years. Aunt Patricia swept in wearing designer everything. Bryce and Sienna looked like they'd stepped out of a magazine. Polished, entitled. During the reception, Aunt Patricia held court near the buffet table, voice loud and theatrical. I was with Mom every single week. I'm the one who took care of her. She kept saying it, over and over, making sure everyone knew. Bryce and Sienna hovered near the lawyer, Mr. Davidson, whispering and pointing. I heard Bryce, loud enough that he wanted me to hear. Dad said Grandma's house alone is worth $500,000. We're set. Sienna smirked. Finally. Mom deserves it after putting up with Grandma's moods all these years. Mia and I sat at a corner table. Nobody came over. Nobody asked how we were doing. We were ghosts. Then Aunt Patricia glided over, her smile dripping with fake sweetness. Girls, I know this is hard. Don't worry, I'll make sure you get some of Grandma's old jewelry. Sentimental, you know? Mia's voice was barely a whisper. We just want to remember her. Aunt Patricia patted her head like she was a child. Of course, sweetie. The lawyer announced the will reading would be the next day at his office. The family nodded like it was a formality, like the outcome was already decided. That night, I couldn't sleep. I got up to get water and heard Aunt Patricia on her phone in the hallway. They'll get scraps. I made sure of it. Mom knew who really cared. My stomach dropped. What did she mean? Made sure? Then I remembered something. 3 months ago, during a video call, Grandma had looked right into the camera. Hannah, promise me you'll come to the will reading, no matter what anyone says. Promise me. At the time, I thought it was just her being sentimental. Now it felt significant. I lay awake the rest of the night, anxious and confused. The next night, Aunt Patricia hosted a celebration of life dinner at some upscale steakhouse. Mia and I weren't invited. We didn't even know about it until Mia checked Instagram. Cousin Sienna had posted a story, the whole family around a big table, toasting with wine glasses. Caption, Real family honors legacy together. I texted my mom, who was there. Why weren't we told? Her response came 5 minutes later. Patricia organized it last minute. She said it was immediate family only. I'm sorry, honey. Mia's eyes filled with tears. I hugged her, but inside I was burning. Immediate family only. like we didn't count. The next morning, we walked into Mr. Davidson's law office. Aunt Patricia, Uncle Rick, Bryce, and Sienna were already there. Designer suits, expensive watches, acting like they owned the place. When Mia and I stepped in, Bryce muttered under his breath, "Didn't know charity cases were invited?" Sienna giggled behind her hand. Aunt Patricia turned to us, her smile tight. "Girls, this is really just a formality. The estate is complicated. Maybe you should wait outside. We'll fill you in after." Mr. Davidson, who was mid-50s with a calm, no-nonsense demeanor, looked up sharply. "Everyone named in the will must be present. Please, everyone take a seat." Aunt Patricia's smile flickered, but she sat. Uncle Rick checked his Rolex. "Let's get this over with. We have lunch reservations at 1. Just before the reading officially started, Aunt Patricia pulled me aside into the hallway. Her voice dropped to a fake concerned whisper. "Look, honey, Grandma left me in charge of most things. I'll make sure you and Mia get a few thousand each, maybe some keepsakes. But I need you to be reasonable. Don't make a fuss if the numbers seem uneven, okay?" I kept my voice steady. "I just want to hear what Grandma wanted." Her smile vanished. Just for a second. "You always were naive. The world doesn't work on sentiment, sweetheart. Grow up." She patted my shoulder dismissively and walked back in. Back in the conference room, Bryce and Sienna were already dividing assets in their heads. "I'm thinking Tesla, maybe the Model S. I want first pick of her jewelry, and if there's a beach house, I'm calling it." Mia's hand was shaking. I grabbed it, squeezed tight, and leaned close. "We're here for Grandma. That's all that matters." She nodded, but her eyes were wet. What they didn't know was that 3 months earlier, Grandma had pulled me aside. Mia had been stuck in finals week, so I'd visited alone. Grandma seemed sharper than usual, purposeful. She took me into her private study and handed me a sealed envelope with my name on it. "Don't open this until after the will reading. But keep it safe, okay?" I'd asked why. She smiled. "Because you and your sister remind me of who I was before the world made me hard, humble, kind, unbothered by greed." I tucked it away. Honestly, I almost forgot about it in the chaos after she passed. But that morning, while looking for my phone, I found it in my purse. I didn't open it. Grandma's instructions had been clear, but I felt its weight, like a secret waiting. What they also didn't know was that Grandma had switched lawyers a year ago. Mr. Davidson was new, independent. Aunt Patricia didn't have her usual influence or insider advantage. I noticed she didn't greet him warmly. She seemed uneasy. That should have been my first clue. Mr. Davidson began reading the will in measured, professional tones. Standard bequests first. Small donations to the local animal shelter and church. Some jewelry and photo albums to Aunt Patricia. She smirked, smug and satisfied. $10,000 each to Bryce and Sienna. Bryce looked disappointed but stayed quiet, clearly waiting for the real stuff. Then Mr. Davidson paused. He looked directly at Mia and me. "To my beloved granddaughters, Hannah and Mia." Aunt Patricia waved her hand dismissively. Yes, some keepsakes, I'm sure." "Sweet." Mr. Davidson's voice turned firm. "Please let me finish, Mrs. Calloway." Uncle Rick checked his watch again, annoyed. "How much longer is this going to take?" Bryce whispered to Sienna, just loud enough for everyone to hear. "If it's less than 6 figures, we'll contest. Dad's lawyer said we have grounds." Aunt Patricia leaned back in her chair, arms crossed. Confident. Like she'd already won. Mr. Davidson continued, his voice steady. "The primary estate, including the family home, all savings accounts, and the investment portfolio." Aunt Patricia sat up straight. A grin spread across her face. are to be divided equally between Hannah and Mia, with the stipulation that they use the funds to pursue education, careers, and dreams without interference from other family members. Silence. Dead silence. Aunt Patricia's mouth opened. What? What did you just say? Mr. Davidson didn't flinch. There is also a video message your grandmother recorded. She wanted you all to see it. He set up a laptop on the table. Aunt Patricia's face went from shock to pale fury. Bryce stood up, voice rising. This is insane. She wasn't in her right mind at the end. Mr. Davidson didn't even blink. I assure you she was thoroughly evaluated by 2 independent doctors. This will is ironclad. Aunt Patricia stood abruptly, shaking. I will fight this. The screen lit up. Grandma appeared, seated in her study. Lucid, smiling gently. If you're watching this, I've passed on. And if Patricia looks upset right now, well, that tells me everything I need to know. Aunt Patricia's jaw clenched. Uncle Rick stared at the screen, frozen. Grandma continued. I've watched my family for years. I saw who came out of love and who came out of obligation and greed. She looked directly into the camera, as if staring straight at Aunt Patricia. Patricia, you were attentive, I'll give you that. But you also asked me 12 times to co-sign loans. You suggested I downsize so you could sell my house. You hinted constantly about my finances. Uncle Rick shifted uncomfortably. Aunt Patricia's face burned red. Bryce, Sienna, you're young, but you never once asked me how I was feeling. Only what I was leaving behind. The cousins looked down, silent. Grandma's voice softened. Hannah and Mia, you called just to talk. You sent me pictures of your lives, your little wins. You saw me as a person, not a paycheck. Tears blurred my vision. Mia gripped my hand so tight it hurt. I'm giving you my estate because I trust you. Don't let anyone bully you out of what's yours. The video ended. Aunt Patricia exploded. This is a sick joke. I gave her years of my life. Mr. Davidson stayed calm. Your mother's wishes are legal and clear. Uncle Rick leaned forward, threatening. We'll take this to court. You're welcome too. You'll lose, and you'll rack up significant legal fees in the process. Bryce pointed at me, his voice sharp. You must have manipulated her, played the victim. I stood up. My voice was quiet, but steady. I loved her. That's all I ever did. Mia found her voice too. We never asked her for a single thing. Sienna's bitterness cut through the room. This isn't fair. Aunt Patricia turned to me, desperate now. You don't even need it. You're young. You'll make money. Give us what's fair, Hannah. Be reasonable. I met her eyes. What's fair is respecting what Grandma wanted. I'm sorry you don't like it, but it's done. Then I remembered. The envelope. I pulled it from my purse and opened it in front of everyone. Inside was a handwritten letter from Grandma, dated and notarized. I read aloud. Hannah, if anyone challenges this, show them this letter. I was of sound mind and body. I chose you and Mia because you have good hearts. Don't let them take that from you. There were also printed copies of Aunt Patricia's loan requests, screenshots of manipulative emails. Mr. Davidson nodded. Your grandmother was extremely thorough. Aunt Patricia had nothing to say. She was completely deflated. The family left in bitter silence. Mia and I walked out of the lawyer's office together. Our hands were still shaking. Aunt Patricia, Uncle Rick, Bryce, and Sienna stormed past us without a word. Outside on the sidewalk, Mia hugged me tight. I can't believe she did that for us. My voice broke. She always saw us, Mia. Always. We drove to Grandma's house, our house now. We walked through the rooms slowly, touching familiar objects, breathing in memories. In the kitchen, we found a photo album left on the table, a sticky note on top, "For my girls." Inside were pictures of us over the years, graduations, birthdays, random visits. Each photo had a little handwritten note underneath. Hannah's first job at the clinic. Mia's dean's list. My real treasures. Grandma had been documenting our love all along. Later, my mom called. She said Aunt Patricia tried to guilt her, but Mom stood firm for once. The cousins unfriended us on social media. I felt a small pang, but no regret. Mia and I decided to honor Grandma's wishes, keep the house, use the funds for Mia's college and my dream of vet school. For the first time, I understood that family isn't about blood or proximity. It's about who sees you, really sees you, and loves you anyway. And Grandma? She saw us all along. If this story hit close to home, I need you to do something for me. Subscribe and share your own experience in the comments. Have you ever been underestimated by your family, only to prove them wrong? Or maybe you're still fighting to be seen. Either way, your story matters here. Drop where you're watching from, and let's build a space where everyone gets heard. I read every single comment. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.